मज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you all. So today we will go into chapter 7. Chapter 7 is called as the knowledge of the absolute, and it has a total of 30 shlokas. So we have divided this into different subsections. We have around 5 sections and we will see one by one. Yeah? So shloka 1 to 3, shloka 1, 2 and 3 speaks about Jnana and Vijnana. Now in Vedic terms, what the Shastra says is Jnana. Jnana means knowledge. And what is Vijnana? Vijnana means realized knowledge. So this is the difference. Jnana means you just get a theoretical knowledge, and when you practice that theory and put it to life, you get realizations, and that realizations is called as Vijnana. So this is the difference between Jnana and Vijnana. But here in Bhagavadgita, in Bhagavadgita, these first 3 shlokas, Krishna is presenting a different meaning to what is Jnana and what is Vijnana. In English, it is called as phenomenal knowledge and numinous knowledge. So we will see what it is. Krishna says in shloka 7.2, we'll go to second shloka. Jnanam teham sa vijnanam idam vakshyasami asheshatah yajñātva neha bhuyo jñāj jñātavyam avashishyate. Translation: I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So here Krishna says there are 2 types of knowledge. One is phenomenal and one is numinous. Okay. So basically this phenomenal knowledge is called as Jnana and numinous knowledge is known as Vijnana. In short terms, phenomenal knowledge or Jnana means it's the knowledge about this material world, Bhautika, about this material world, and Vijnana or numinous knowledge means it is knowledge about the supreme or spiritual knowledge. Now we all see that we receive education, all of us have gone through education, we study a lot, we learn, we get knowledge, we study subjects like physics, chemistry, mathematics, sociology, geography, history. Now all these are called as material knowledge, what we receive. We learn a lot of things. Say for example, we have learnt that some basics like sun rises in the east or the earth revolves around the sun. Now these are all knowledge. No, we believe in this and we write examinations and we pass the examinations. Now, have we ever thought why the sun is rising in the east or why the earth is revolving, rotating around the sun? No, or very few would have thought about these things, right? So, no matter what, there are a certain laws in the nature which can never be changed. For example, sun always rises in the east. Have we ever heard that, okay, today sun has rise, in today's news, BBC channel, there is news coming, today 30th November, the sun did not rise in the east, but it rose in the west. No, we never hear like that, right? And every day there is a sunrise happening, and then there are seasons like rainy season, winter season, summer season, all this coming and going at the same time. So there are a certain laws which is happening. There is no control over it. We cannot, as normal human beings, we cannot change these laws. So, which means if there is a law, there should definitely be a creator behind this law, right? And whoever is intelligent will not only learn or try to understand these laws, but an intelligent person will also try to understand or inquire why these laws are there, or who's created this law. For example, you one day early morning you come out of your house and there is a signboard which says, okay, don't get out of your house after 8 p.m. in the night. Nobody should come out of your house. Say there is a big signboard in your locality. Firstly, you will think, okay, the first thing which comes into your mind is, who has put this signboard here and for what reason, right? We will not just blindly, okay, there is a signboard, so let us all sit inside. We should not come after 8 p.m. No, we will not think like that, right? We will see why have they put this. Who is the person who has put that signboard? Or say for another example, if there is a beautiful art, it can be a drawing, painting, or any art which is done by an artist. The first question that comes into our mind is, who's done this art? Who's sketched this painting? That's how we start appreciating. The appreciation comes from who's done this, right? We want to know who is behind this beautiful artwork. Similarly, it is the Lord who is behind this creation. And most of the times, like I gave examples of the material knowledge, what we study, we just take this knowledge, but we really don't. See, for example, there is gravitational force. So with the gravitation, whatever you throw up will come down. So have you ever thought what is behind this gravitational force? So all this is controlled by the Supreme Lord. And Krishna says, people actually think that those who try to understand this knowledge, try to get this knowledge is very intelligent. But Krishna says no. The reason for knowledge, the reason behind this knowledge, a person who tries to inquire the real reason behind, the real creator behind these things, he is said to be the most intelligent person. And Krishna also says, unfortunately, those people are very, very less. So which means he is indirectly saying there are not much intelligent people in this world, because only an intelligent person can inquire about that. And that is what he says in shloka number 3. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Translation: out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So Krishna is saying, there could be thousands of people who is trying so many things trying so many ways to become perfect in life. But out of thousands of such people, it is hardly, very few or rarely, he says hardly one knows among thousand. Manushyanam sahasreshu. Sahasra means thousand. Out of thousands of people, it is hardly one person may try to understand the truth in me. And the best example is, all of us here are the best example. We are conducting this Bhagavadgita course for a fair, and you see today it's very, very few people. But at the same time, say for example, I give a promotion that I'll be starting a course from tomorrow, and if you attend this course is all about how to make money, 5,000 per day, or you can make 50,000 per month just by attending my online course. We can see this hall will get filled. Whether that will happen or not, that is different, but at least for the first month, first few days, the hall will be filled. But when we talk about Bhagavadgita or the Supreme Truth, it's very, very rare. And that is why Krishna here says, it's only that lucky or fortunate people will be given an opportunity to understand that. And that is why he says such intelligent people are very, very rare. And sometimes we think that, okay, if something is on the minority side, we think that, okay, the majority thinks this way, so majority is what which wins, and majority is the truth. But that's not correct. It's not that whatever majority of people do, that's not correct. Today, if you take a Sensex, in 100 people, around 80 to 90 people smoke. But that does not mean that smoking is correct, right? The remaining 5 or 10 people who don't smoke are leading a much healthy life, and they are the right ones as per the laws of society. So it really does not mean that, okay, we are very few in numbers. Sometimes we are those fortunate souls who are blessed by the Supreme Almighty to get an opportunity to understand Bhagavad Gita and understand who is Lord. Yeah. So this is what Krishna says in the first 3 shlokas. So we saw what is Jnana and Vijnana. Jnana is material knowledge and Vijnana is spiritual knowledge. Yeah, and we also saw who are the real intelligent person. Is the one who just not tries to understand the knowledge, but also tries to understand the creator or the real reason behind this everything that is happening in this material world. Okay, next we'll go to shloka 4 to 12, and shlokas 4 to 12 it explains the ownership of the Lord. Lord is everywhere and He is the essence of everything. So it tries to establish the supremeness of the Lord, these 8 to 9 shlokas. So here the Lord or Krishna has 2 energies, and this can be divided into 2. One is inferior energy and the second one is superior energy. Now, inferior energy is the material energy. This material energy is made up of 8 elements, that is the 5 Panchabhutas which we have discussed before: earth, water, fire, air and ether, 5 gross elements, and then the rest of the 3, mind, intelligence and ego. These 8 elements is called the inferior energy. So why it is called as inferior energy? Because these elements are always changeable. It always comes under the influence of creation, maintenance and destruction. So whenever this world is created, these elements are also created, and then it will be maintained for some time. And when the world is destroyed, these elements are also destroyed. So to give a best simple example, we discussed that our gross body is made up of these 5 Panchabhutas in chapter 2. We also discussed when someone dies, these 5 elements also gets dissolved. So it gets dissolved and it does not stay. So which means it is changeable. That's the reason it's called as inferior energy. And this is what is explained in shloka 7.4. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kammano buddhireva cha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriter ashtada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego. All together these 8 constitute my separated material energies. So which means these are inferior energy. Next, superior energy. Superior energy are the living entities which are us, the Jivatmas or the soul. Right? Why we are called the superior energy? Because we already discussed, we are all part and parcel of Krishna. We are all part and parcel. We are all amshas of the Lord. The Lord is Paramatma and we are Jivatma. And we all saw, the body we saw is made up of the 5 Panchabhutas and the 3 subtle bodies, which is mind, intelligence and ego. But what is the soul made up of? We discussed this in chapter 2. What is it made up of? Anyone? Eternity, bliss and knowledge. Sat Chit Ananda. We all have heard, right? Sat Chit Ananda. Sat Chit Ananda, which means eternity, bliss and knowledge. And from where does that eternity comes? Because the Supreme Lord is eternal. He is Anadir Adir Govinda. He does not have a start, does not have an end. That is why we have temples where murtis are called Adi Narayana, Adi Keshava. Right? So he is the original. And because we are part and parcel of him, we also have that amsha of eternity. And that is why we are called as the superior energy. And this is what is explained in Shloka 5. Apareyam itastva anyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Yeah, and what are we living entities doing? We are exploiting this material nature, using it as per our will and wish, without knowing who is the original controller. We saw in last chapter, right? The original CEO, controller, enjoyer and owner is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so both these energies are coming from the Lord. So both these energies, or Shakti we called, and because it is coming from the Lord is the Shaktiman. We have heard these characters like Shaktiman, right? So children, they understand this Shaktiman as the all in all, the powerful. So he can do anything. He can climb. He can jump from buildings, right? So like that. Lord is the original Shaktiman, and all these energies or Shaktis is coming from him. Okay, so we'll go to Shloka 7.7. Mataha parataram nanyet kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre mani gana iva. Very beautiful and important shloka. The translation goes like this. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Who is talking this? Krishna is saying this to Arjuna. He says, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Yeah. So in this shloka, Krishna says that he is the ultimate truth. So generally we just see the outer covering. We just see this material world, but we don't see the creator. We saw how we study that sun is rising in the east, but we really don't know who's the reason for it. So that's why Krishna here gives a beautiful example, pearl strung on a thread. So how do we understand it? When we see a pearl necklace, do any one of us think about the thread which is holding that necklace? No, we just see that pearls, oh so beautiful necklace. It looks very dashing and very beautiful, but it's hardly very few people, or mostly none of them thinks about the thread which is that holding. Or sometimes the food what we prepare is very tasty. We say that, oh, paneer sabji is so tasty, very nice, very nicely cooked. But who's the actual hero of that sabji? It is the salt, right? It is a correct percentage of salt which is added. But whenever the sabji has less salt, then we will blame the salt. Oh, what is that? Salt only is not there, right? Then we will blame. But when the sabji is nice, we will not blame the salt. Oh, very nice sabji. So similarly, in this world, all of us are just seeing the outer covering, material world. We don't see who is the creator behind it. Some people, or most of them, don't even believe the existence of God. Some people say, why should I believe in God? You let the God come in front of me. Let me see Him. Only then I will be able to believe. Fair enough, right? What they are asking is correct. Right? To some extent it is true. Because, okay, if there is God, let Him come in front of me. Then I will believe. Why I should believe someone who is not there in front of me? So Shastra says there are three kinds of evidences or proofs. They call this as pramanas. So first one is pratyaksha praman. Pratyaksha praman means knowledge that is received through direct sense perception. That is, if I see something, if I am able to hear something, then I will believe it. This is called as pratyaksha, direct sense perception. But there is one problem. Our senses are imperfect. I am not saying, Shastras are saying. Oh Prabhu, how can you say that? I am not wearing specs. I can still see clearly. I am able to hear properly. I don't have any problem. My eyesight is everything good. How can you say it is imperfect? Imperfect in the sense we have a limitation. For example, we all are sitting here. Can we say what is happening behind this wall right now at this moment? No, because it's not transparent, it's an opaque object. Or can we hear something which is going on maybe 2 kilometers from here, maybe what is happening in the Hormuz junction? Can we see or hear it? No, right? So which means, or you see the sun planet. We all study in science how big is sun. It is so many times bigger than the earth, but we see it as a very small coin, one small disc. So why? It is not because the sun is far from us. It is because our capacity is only so much. Our eye is having a so and so capacity. So it is a limitation, which means our senses are imperfect. Now, can we reframe that question? Can I really see God or not? Say you switch on all these light, it is completely dark in the room. Forget about God, we can't see our own self itself. Then with these kind of limitations, how can we claim that I will believe only when God comes in me? So firstly, we have to understand that we have a limitation. Okay. So this is first evidence, pratyaksha praman, which means it can be considered true, but not always. Yes, sometimes whatever we see, whatever we hear are true, but not everything. But we have a limitation that we cannot see and hear everything. So this evidence cannot be considered as a complete evidence. This is pratyaksha praman. Next, anumana praman. Anumana praman means it is an evidence gathered through some logical reasoning, some hypothesis, some theory. We can see this lot of scientists do these things. They discover a lot of things, they invent a lot of things. After some time they'll say that okay, this is not like this, this is like this. Someone said that Darwin's theory said that all the human beings came from ape, the monkeys. That is still debatable. And then later they said it is not like that. Someone will say it is not monkey, it is donkey. So these kind of theories keeps coming, right? So it is sometimes it is true, all these theorems and other things. Sometimes it's not true. So which means this Anumana means the word itself says it is doubtful. Anumana. So which means it is not complete evidence. This also cannot be considered as a complete evidence. Now there is a third evidence which is called as Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana means knowledge which is obtained through the Vedic scriptures, through hearing, through the sound, Shabda. Now this is, out of all the three Pramanas, this is said to be the most correct and the authoritative, the best one, because they are authoritative and they are supported by strong evidences from the Shastras, and not only evidences in the form of life history of the self-realized souls. That is called as Shabda Pramana. That is why we say that Vedas are considered like our mother. And Krishna is our father. Krishna himself confirms this in the Bhagavadgita. Aham bija pratapitaha. I am the seed giving father. So if someone wants to know who his father is, who is the best person to ask? Mother. Mother is the best person. Authoritative source. Of course, there are many other methods, like you can go to an hospital and make a DNA test or do some other test. But what will the most intelligent person do? He will just stick and believe the words of his mother. Nobody will tell that, oh no, I cannot believe my mother. let me go to the hospital and do a DNA test. So that person is said to be a fool, number one. So similarly, here Vedas are like our mother, and Vedas are clearly showing the direction, who is the father. So scriptural knowledge is full of description about the Supreme Lord, who is our father. So we'll have to just simply have faith on these scriptures, which is the Shabda Praman, and follow it. Right? For example, there is a law which is set up by the government. There are so many laws, and we all know behind each of these laws there is a lawmaker, there is a law book, and there is a lawmaker, an official from government who has written these laws and authorized it, right? And all the citizens of the state or country are supposed to follow these laws, expected to follow these laws, and if they don't follow it as per the government sections, they might be punished, right? And for example, somebody is driving a two-wheeler and he jumps a signal or doesn't wear a helmet, and the police catches him and asks him for fine. So now, what will an intelligent person do? He will say that, okay, I have done the mistake, he will pay the fine and he will come. Will that person ask that, tell me who has written this law? Call that person in front of me. Let him come in front of me and tell that so and so law is there, so and so section on this book. Only then I will pay the fine. Can he say that? Of course, if you are going to that extent, even they can present you the law, the sections and everything. But in general, an intelligent person will not do that, because he is intelligent. His common sense says that, okay, there is a law, this is a law which is made by the government. We all know that we'll have to follow the traffic rules. We should not break it. So he will pay the fine and come. He will not say that, oh, only if that person comes in front of me and when he says, no, promisely, I only wrote this law, you please believe it, only then I will pay. No, that is foolishness, right? So similarly, each and every time the Lord doesn't have to come in front of us. Lord is not our servant or someone. Okay, whenever, because there are so many atheists in this world. When each and everyone says, oh, why God is not coming in front of me? Why He is not coming? God is not His puppet or something. To each and every person, whenever He calls, He comes in front of us and says, okay, I am here, I only wrote the Vedas, this is all true, you please do it. No, that is not the thing, right? So it is not like, for example, you see, we can take the same example of this government documents. Sometimes we take this authorized signature, and when you take that authorized signature, it is understood that the person is authorized that document or the bill, and the document will be valid and valued everywhere, anywhere. Once the person has signed the document, that person need not come every time physically to know whenever there is a land deal or whenever there is some other deal which is going on. Once a person is maybe go to a notary and signed, authorized, that is done. A person from the notary or any other official need not come every time in person to say that, okay, this is true, this is true. Similarly, that signature is like the Shastras, like the codes of religion which is given in the Shastras, like the Bhagavadgita and the Bhagavatam. And this signature is directly from the Supreme Lord. All these Shastras has come from Veda Vyas. Veda Vyas is none other than Krishna himself. He is a literary incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So it's all authorized. So a person need not always think that I will believe something only when someone comes in front of me. That is, it is wrong. It is just like the only thing what we have to keep in mind is we'll have to just believe it, have faith on the Shastras and believe it. The moment you have faith, then you will start getting realizing. Just like a student who goes to school, he learns 1 plus 1 is 2. How come 1 plus 1 is 2? How are we believing it is 1 plus 1 is 2? Because the teachers taught it. Have we really gone and experimented 1 plus 1 is 2? 1 plus 1 can be 3 also, no? Logically, whatever we have learned, 1 plus 1 is 2. But who gave that 1 plus 1 as 2? 1 plus 1 can, if they would have taught us 1 plus 1 is 3, we would have learned 1 plus 1 as 3. But what the student is doing, he is having complete faith on his teachers, he is having faith on those textbooks, and he is having faith on his parents, he is having faith on the schools, colleges, universities, and he is getting the degrees and he is coming out successfully. It's the same amount of faith that we have to have on the Shastras. The textbooks are like our Shastras and the teachers are like our Guru, the spiritual masters. We all saw in Pratyaksha, our senses are imperfect. We cannot see Lord through our material senses because our material senses are completely filled with impurity. But the Guru or the spiritual master can open our Jnana Chakshu, our senses of knowledge. He can open our eyes of knowledge through which we can understand and understand the presence of the Lord. Right? So that is what here Krishna says, and this is a very good answer for people who think, where is God and how can I see Him, how to believe that there is presence of God. So that is what we discussed here through. There are 3 evidences mentioned in the scripture, which are called as Pramanas, Pratyaksha Praman, Anumana Praman and Shabda Praman. And out of these 3, which is the most authoritative Praman? Shabda Praman, which is knowledge obtained from the Vedic literatures or Vedic scriptures. Here, that is why Krishna is here given the example of the pearl. Now, pearl necklace looks very beautiful, no? But only an intelligent person will understand that it is the thread which is holding it, right? Or you just imagine the pearls is all come out, the whole beauty, the look of the necklace is lost. So that is what the thread is, what is compared to Krishna, the Lord who is holding the entire creation, who is responsible for everything. But at the same time he is aloof from everything, as though he has not done anything. That is why the example of this pearl, thread. We can't even see the thread, presence of thread. Only when you cut the thread or cut the necklace, or only then you will see that there is a thread hanging. Otherwise no one will know that there is a thread present. This is how Krishna is working. He is behind the scene. He doesn't even, people will not even know that he is there behind. But only an intelligent person. That's why Krishna says, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Only an intelligent among men. There are very, very rare and few people who will understand this, is what he says. Now Krishna is the essence of all. So when we say essence of all, there is, what is essence? For example, you take sugar. What is the essence of sugar? It is the sweetness. When you take the sweet out of that sugar does not hold any value. Similarly, when you take the taste of salt from the salt, it will not hold any value. So similarly, Krishna here he is saying in shloka number from 8 to 11, how he is the all in all. So we will just go one by one. I will just read out the translation. So Krishna says, O son of Kunti. Who is son of Kunti? Arjuna says, O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in the ether and the ability in man. He says, I am the taste of water. A lot of us think that water is tasteless. But when you go from one city to another city, only then you will understand that water also really has some taste. No, we go to, in Bangalore, at least, now it's little bad, but at least we all know how Kaveri water tastes, very tasty. But when you go to northern India or some other parts of outside Bangalore, right, you really, when you taste that salt water, you really, then you start appreciating, oh, our home well water is so nice. So this is the taste of water. And sometimes when we are fasting, or sometimes when we are we have not had water for a long time, or when we go to a gym or we play out and come inside, then we suddenly drink water after a long time. And that's the actual moment where you relish the taste of the water. Sometimes, and that's the moment where you don't want anything other than water. Somebody comes and offers you some juice or Pepsi, you don't want anything, just water what you want. There's a special taste which you can realize from it. And Krishna says, I'm the taste, right? And then he says in next shloka, I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in the fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all aesthetics. Yeah, so Krishna says, I am the heat of fire, I am the fragrance of earth. Then he says, O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. So he says, all that power, somebody is very powerful, it is the one, I am the one who is giving him that power. If somebody is very intelligent, I am the one who is giving him intelligence. Krishna in Bhagavadgita 15.15 says, Sarvasya chaham radisannivishto matasmritir jnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarvair ahameva vedyo vedantavid vedakrit evacham. He says, I am the intelligence. I give you remembrance. I give you forgetfulness also. Forgetfulness also, it is because of me. Sometimes we feel that, oh, why did I forget this? But that forgetfulness, because you have forgotten something, it could have been for some good cause, right? And only then later you realize, oh, it's good that whatever happened is happened for good. It's good that it happened. And Krishna says that is because of me, right? And he says, I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bharatas. So he says basically whatever and everything in this material world, whatever we do, whatever we enjoy, everything, it is so basically all these resources, natural resources, what we see, it is all the Supreme Lord's. He is the actual owner, he is the actual enjoyer. He is the actual owner of this material world. But what we do is, we fight. There is a fight between owner and tenants. Hey, this is my house. Why are you not vacating it, or why are you not keeping it clean? No, but we'll have to understand in the back end, this entire universe. Just imagine that Krishna comes and starts asking rent from us. Right? So he is such a gentleman. He is letting us free to live and use all his resources. We all were breathing so nicely, did not even know the importance of air. Some people did not even know that air is existing. Only after COVID came, they understood, oh, there is something called as air, oxygen. Oxygen was easily available for us freely, free of cost, but nobody understood it. Then later, even the richest of the rich person, even a billionaire, he had so much of money to buy anything in this world, but he couldn't buy oxygen because it was not available. So we have to understand that how Krishna is. So, how is he is the original creator, and how we are. This is what the other shloka we saw, that as living entities we are exploiting the material nature. This is what his actual exploitation is. Yeah, so we'll go on to the next section, shloka 13 to 19. Now, shlokas 13 to 19 discusses 4 kinds of people who accept devotion and 4 kinds of people who reject devotion. Okay. We'll take verse 7.14. Daiviyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mamevaye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. Translation: this divine energy of mind, consisting of the 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So Krishna says that one who has surrendered unto him can easily overcome the 3 modes of material nature. 3 modes of material nature we already saw in short. Of course, we will be discussing this in the future chapters. But we saw what it is: Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamaguna, which is mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of illusion. These are the 3 modes of nature. Where did we see it? In previous chapter, somewhere it was mentioned that our action is actually not performed by us, but it is performed by the 3 modes of nature, right? We discussed this. So Krishna says this 3 modes of nature is very, very difficult to overcome. It is not very easy, but one who has surrendered unto him, he can overcome. Why it is if we surrender to Krishna, it is easy to overcome? Because this 3 modes of nature is also controlled by Krishna. So it is this, although the modes of nature are controlling us, but Krishna is a supreme controller. So he is controlling the 3 modes of nature. So the moment you surrender to Krishna, Krishna will take care of it. For example, you go to a house, right? It can be a relative's house or friend's house. Suddenly the dog comes running, barking at you. It's about to charge at you. It comes and because the dog has not seen you, it comes charging and shouting. It's almost coming and you are gone. Somehow you are entered inside the gate. There is no board that beware of dogs and all. You have entered inside the gate. The dog has seen. Dog keeps running. Almost it is coming to bite you, and suddenly the owner of the house calls here, Jimmy, come back, come back. So what will the dog do? Immediately the dog will turn around and come towards the owner. The dog will understood, oh, this guy is my boss friend, looks like he's my boss's friend, so he's a known person to me, so better not to do. So the moment the owner is there with the dog, or when the owner identifies you as his friend, the moment the owner says the dog to come back, the dog will not attack you. Right? Similarly, this dog is like the modes of nature, and the owner who is controlling the dog is compared to Krishna. Krishna is controlling the modes of nature, and when you surrender to the Lord will say, he is my devotee, I am his well-wisher. He will say the modes of nature that not to bind him, don't bind him, he is my special guest. So then we will be very safe. If we think that, oh, I don't want the help of owner, let me see whether it is me or the dog, let the dog come, I will fight with him, then he'll end up in hospital with whatever number of injections. That will be the case. So that is what here Krishna says. One who has surrendered to him, this divine energy of me, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. That is what Krishna says. So if we think, that is why Krishna is the owner of Maya, he is the owner of the modes of nature. So when we surrender to Krishna, he will keep us away from all these things. Okay, so four kinds of people who do not surrender. First we will see the people who do not surrender. It's given in Shloka 7.15. Namam dushkritino mudaha prapadyante naradamaha Mayaya pahartagnana asuram bhavam ashritaham. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Yeah. So Krishna says, firstly, if you have to get free of the modes of nature, you have to surrender unto me. Then Krishna says, it is not very easy to surrender. Actually, people who surrender are very, very less. In fact, in this world, the majority is the people who do not surrender. And Krishna says, who are the four category of people who generally don't surrender? He says, first one is foolish. Foolish means, they are generally unintelligent people. They don't know anything. When I say unintelligent, they can be materially intelligent. They can be a scientist, they can be a doctor, they can be an engineer. Materially, this guy can be intelligent. But from a Shastric point of view, he might be an unintelligent person. And he is not bothered much about anything. He does not have any idea about the Shastras. He thinks that, okay, eat, sleep, repeat, merry life. So that's all life is about. Just go, enjoy, work hard, eat nicely, sleep nicely. So he is kind of a Buddhu. He does not know anything, nothing, I don't know time for it, or it doesn't even come inside his mind that there is something called as spirituality. So this is a foolish person. Second is lowest among mankind. Now this is a very, very nicha, they will say. They do exactly what is given in the Shastras, they do it exactly opposite. So I think 500 years back when Krishna incarnated as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there were two people, Jagai and Madai. There were two people, they were actually high qualified Brahmanas, but they were into all bad activities. It is said that they used to read Shastras every day. And why they used to read Shastras every day is not to gain knowledge. They used to read whatever is given in the Shastras, whatever, okay, this is, if you do this, it is this punishment, if you do this one, this is wrong. So whatever is given in the Shastras, they will do exactly opposite to. If something is said, given in the Shastra, you should not do this, they will do that. So they did sins so much that it is said that even Chitragupta's book was full. He had to buy new notes extra. Like in examination we buy extra sheets, right? So like that he had to buy it. So it was like that. So these are the kind of people, they do exactly what is opposite in the scriptures. And today you see lot of around the world terrorism activities. In the name of religion there is so much of fight going on. The very latest rule, news from the Bangladesh, and so many, there is so much of unrest and no peace in the world at all. And if you really look at the reason, there is no reason at all. Why are they fighting? Because they are the lowest of mankind. They are not, they don't have that manushyatva, what they call. Yeah, so these are the kind of people. And third one is whose knowledge is told by illusion. Now these are intelligent people, but they are living in illusion, which means they create their own rules and regulations. They think that they are always right. It's kind of that ego. They don't listen to anyone. It is not like that. They think whatever I say, that is only right. See, there is no God and all. God, what you are God, I am God, everyone God. See, only you just serve poor people, give them nice food. Whenever they are hungry, give the food. Then automatically you will become God for them. They will like this. Okay, sir, like how many times Annadanam you did? I will do what once in a year, maybe on my birthday I will do once, 10 people I will feed, that's all. And this one he speaks about, if you give food you will become, if you take off the hunger. It's not like that. So these people are, they try to act smart, they try to act intelligent. They just get into a lot of conversations and they don't believe in everything. Yeah, these are the people whose knowledge is told by illusion. And finally, atheists. Atheists we just saw how an atheist thinks. So he does not even believe in the existence of God. What God? Nothing, no other work for you. Why are you simply wasting your time? Simply, where is God? Ask your God to come in front of me. If God is there, why so and so things are not happening? Why is rain not coming in Bangalore? Or why so and so things are not happening? So like this people question like that. So these are the four kinds of people: foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and then atheist. And on the other end there is four kind of people who surrender to Krishna. This is given in the next shloka. Chaturvida bhajante mam janaha sukritino arjuna artho jignashur artharti jnani cha bharatarshabha. Translation: O best among the Bharatas, four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. So here Krishna says there are four kind of people. On the other end there are four kind of people who come to me. First one he says distressed. Yeah, very true, right? So most of the people, if not everyone, at least most of the people, whenever they are very distressed in life, whenever they have problems in their life, sometimes as a last option they run to the temple. Or somebody might come and tell, why don't you start chanting so and so, why don't you start worshipping, all your problems will go away. Saturday you go to Shani Mahatma, Monday you go to the other temple, Tuesday you go to this temple, that temple. So they start doing it. Of course the motive is different. He is completely filled with distress and problems in his life. But at least for that sake he will go towards the Supreme, right? So this is the one who is in problem. Next one is one who desires wealth. Now this is a person to attain some material gains. I want a good job, I want a very good college. Some students, they do only during their exams, 1 or 2 days before the exam, they go to the temple and they pray and come that I'll have to get nice marks, pass nicely. Whatever I studied, only that has to come. So no other questions has to come. Even if that doesn't come, somehow I have to be able to attend it. They do all kind of prayers. Some people say that, no, you get my daughter married, next day I'll come with 100 coconuts. Or someone will say, get my son on medical seat, I will do so and so. So this is all like we do a business with the Lord. So anyways, he is still coming to the temple, so he is worshipping the Lord, but he is doing with the motive of getting wealth. Wealth means not just money, anything, any nice happiness in your lives. Yeah. And third one is inquisitive. Now inquisitive is the one who inquires out of curiosity. So he is leading his normal life, and at a point of time he feels that, what is this life? It is all the same old thing what I am doing. No, why am I really struggling here? So these kind of questions come to his mind. What am I doing? What is the real goal of life? What is the aim of life? So he is very inquisitive. So why don't I try to find out the truth? So then he turns towards spiritualness. So he turns towards spiritual wisdom. So let me try to understand. He is very inquisitive about learning new things. So he takes this as an opportunity to try to understand the Bhagavadgita. So this is about inquisitiveness. And the last one is those in the search of absolute truth. So this person is called a Jnani. So he does not have any other priorities in his life. So whatever he does for the sake of the Supreme Lord. He offers the results, everything for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So he is naturally born devotee of the Lord, in search of the absolute truth. Now these four are the ones who surrender, who is distressed, one who desires for wealth, one who is inquisitive, and fourth one is one who is in search of the absolute truth. Now Krishna says, now there are two categories, one who don't surrender and one who surrenders. Krishna says one who doesn't surrender are the people who are more in this world. And he confirms this in Shloka 7.19. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavam mam prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Says, after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. See, Krishna says, he said about four people who don't surrender, then he explained four people who surrenders, and then he says the people who surrenders are very, very rare. This is why I gave an example of, we should not always think that wherever there is majority, they are correct. No, I gave a very simple example of people who drink and smoke. Today's world society, you see there are a lot of 80 to 90% people who drink and smoke, but that doesn't mean, majority of the people are doing, so that's right. No, we should not get influenced by these things. No, we should really decide whether we fall into that rare category of intelligent people who surrender to Krishna. That is what Krishna says, Bahunam janmanamante. It is after so many millions of birth that one even gets an opportunity. So to be fact that you devotees, all of us, including me, for us to be sitting here and discussing this, trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita and discussing about the Supreme Lord, we have done so much, maybe we have done a lot of sukriti in lot of births, and after many births we have got this opportunity in this birth, which means we are really fortunate to sit and be discussing about the Lord. So we all fall under that rare category. And we have to be really thankful, because today you see there are so many people. Today is a Saturday evening, weekend. We all know how people in general would be enjoying their lives outside. Some might be in the restaurants, some might be in the pubs, some might be in the park, some might be in some illicit places. We really can't imagine. That's how this modern world is. But we should be really thankful and really fortunate to the Lord that we have been put in the right places and discussing the right things, and that is what makes a real difference. And that's why Krishna says such a great soul is very rare. So next shloka 20 to 25, it discusses about the demigods. So now we discussed about two category. One is the people who surrender, and the another one is the people who don't surrender. Now there is a third category of people. Now this third category of people also, they are the people who have lot of material desires. But instead of surrendering to the Supreme Lord, they surrender to the demigods. That's the difference. Shloka 7.23 states, Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatya halpa medasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mam api. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Yeah, Krishna makes such a strong statement. He says, men of small intelligence, people who are very less intelligent, they worship the demigods. Now, demigods means Devi Devatas. There are many in numbers. But Bhagavan is only one. The Supreme Lord or the Absolute Truth is only one. But Devi Devatas or demigods are many. So, Krishna says, what happens if you worship the demigods? Their fruits are limited and temporary. So Krishna here mentions the two disadvantages of worshipping the demigods. It does not mean that we should not worship the demigods, but he is trying to give us the knowledge what is the difference between worshipping a demigod and the Supreme Lord. The first disadvantage is results are limited and temporary. Why the results are limited and temporary? Because the demigods themselves are not independent. They are also dependent, and they get their power from the Lord. For example, right from Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Vayu, Varuna, all these demigods, right? The problem with them is even they have to undergo the cycle of birth and death. The only difference between us and them is we undergo birth, death, old age and disease. They, in the upper planetary systems, maybe they are free of diseases and old ages, but they also have birth and death. They also come under the cycle of birth and death. For example, somebody does some punya karmas, they go to the Swargaloka or Indraloka, they enjoy there for some time. But the problem is, once all your enjoyment is over, you will have to again come back to this material world. There is no permanent stay there. Some people say the right heaven. So you go there, you stay in the heaven. They show the depiction of a nice angel and picking you like this, like that, and you will have a feather. So all these things are very good in drawing and paintings. That's all. The actual thing is, yes, you will enjoy in the heaven, but you will come back. So that's the disadvantage, right? They are limited and temporary. Why it's temporary? They themselves are temporary. They are also under the laws of, they also undergo birth and death. And not only that, Krishna says that benefit one gets from the demigods are actually bestowed by me only, bestowed by the Supreme Lord himself. So even if somebody worships the demigods, whatever the benedictions he gets from the benedictions that he gets are actually bestowed by the Supreme Lord. That's what Krishna says. For example, when in the origin of the creation, in the start of the creation, the first created entity was Brahma. Lord Vishnu created Brahma. Brahma came from the Nabi, lotus of Lord Vishnu. And when Brahma was created, he was given the duty to create all the living entities. And he was completely blank. He did not know what to do. So then he went to meditation mode. He meditated on whom? He meditated on Lord Vishnu. Then Lord Vishnu came within his heart and gave him the Vedas and gave him the required knowledge and gave him the different things. And then he was able to do the creation. And after a certain point of time, all these Vedas were taken away. It was stolen by a demon. And then again Brahma couldn't do anything. He had to call Vishnu. And then Vishnu came that's how the Matsya Avatara came. The first avatar of all the 10 avatars. Matsya Avatara came to save the Vedas. Right? So whenever they are in crisis, they themselves depend on the Supreme Lord. So we'll have to. So when we say that we'll have to not go to the demigods, it does not mean that we don't pray demigods. We'll have to definitely pray to the demigods and show that respect to them. But in the back of our mind, we should be completely knowing that who is the real Bhagavan and who are the Devi Devatas working under him. This is very important. For example, if someone knows a chief minister directly, he doesn't have to go through the secretary. Right? If someone goes to the secretary and says that you are the all in all, right? The secretary himself will think that why this guy is praising me a lot. There is someone, my boss is sitting on top of me. So it's like that. So basically the understanding is that when you water a plant, where do you pour the water? To the root. Once you pour water to the root, automatically all the leaves, twigs, branches, flowers, fruits, everything gets nourished. We don't have to go pour water to each and every leaf or each and every branch. It's not required, it's just root. So once we, similarly, your root here is compared to the Supreme Lord, and when we surrender to the Supreme Lord, automatically everyone is satisfied. That is why Vishnu is called as Yagna Purusha. Whenever they do that sacrifice, the fire in that sacrifice is Vishnu. So whenever, and ultimately and finally they do that Purnahuti, and the Purnahuti is that the entire essence, the complete Purnahuti, and that is offered to Vishnu. Right? In the beginning of the yajna, there are so many people there. Something is offered to Indra, something is offered to Agni. All these demigods are called and offered, but the final Purnahuti is offered to Vishnu because he is the Yagna Purusha. He is the ultimate enjoyer of the sacrifices. Right? So this is first advantages. Results are limited and temporary. And second one is we go to the planets of the demigods. This we already discussed. When we pray to the demigods, we go to the demigods. But the problem is when you go to the demigods, you will have to again come down because even their lokas are not permanent. Right? But when we go to the Supreme Lord, we don't have to come back again because the Supreme Planet or the Vaikuntha lokas are permanent. They are not temporary in nature. They come under the spiritual world, but whereas the demigods, their planets fall under the material world, which itself will be destroyed after some time. So finally, conclusion, Shloka 26 to 30. Who can become a devotee? Krishna explains in 7.28, Yeshvam tvanantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavattaha. Shloka 28. Translation. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated are freed from the dualities of delusion and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So Krishna here says, persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated are freed from the dualities of delusion and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So who is eligible? Who is eligible to engage themselves in the service to the Lord? So one whose sinful activities are completely eradicated and those who have acted pious in our lives. We all have a control over what we have done in this life, good or bad, but we really don't know what sort of good things or what sort of bad things we have done in our previous lives. It could be big sins that we have done. No, we really don't know what we have done. So it is not under our control. But what is under our control? There is really an opportunity which Krishna is giving. He is saying that whose sinful actions are completely eradicated. He says, try to eradicate your sins, then you can engage in my service. So how to eradicate our sins? By chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So by continuous chanting of the holy name, our sins gets eradicated, and we will be eligible to surrender to the Lord. Okay, so this is the essence of chapter 7. So we just to run through the topics what we discussed in the first section. We saw what is Jnana and Vijnana, phenomenal and luminous knowledge. Phenomenal knowledge is the knowledge about the material world, and the luminous knowledge is the knowledge about the Supreme Lord. Then we saw that only a person who is intelligent enough can inquire about the Supreme Lord, and such people are very, very rare. And then we saw that the Lord is everywhere and He is the essence of everything. He is the Supreme. We saw there are two energies of the Lord. One is inferior energy, which is made out of the 8 elements, the gross and subtle elements. Then we have superior energy, which is made out of living entities, we, the Jivatma, right? And then we saw, as per scriptures, there are 3 pramanas: Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana Pramana, and Shabda Pramana. And the Shabda Pramana is the most authorized one of those, right? And also we saw how Krishna is the owner and enjoyer. And we also saw how, although we cannot see Krishna through this imperfect senses, the only person who can open our eyes of knowledge is the Guru or the spiritual master. We also saw how Krishna in different shlokas he is explaining he is the all in all, like taste of water, light of sun, heat in the fire, so and so. Then we saw 4 kinds of people who accept and reject. 4 kinds of people who reject is the foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and atheist. And the 4 people who surrender is the one who is distressed and who is looking for wealth, who is inquisitive, and those who are in search of absolute truth. And also Krishna says how we can come out from the modes of nature, that is by surrendering to Him. We saw the example of the owner and the dog. Finally, we saw the difference between demigods and Bhagavan. And then finally Krishna says who can become a devotee. Person who is free from all these sinful activities can become a devotee. This is the essence of chapter 7. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavadgita ki.